Have you ever wondered what happens when royalty meets controversy? Prince William, poised to lead one of the world's oldest monarchies, and Donald Trump, a political force who thrives on breaking conventions, seem worlds apart. Yet their encounters have offered a rare glimpse into the intersection of tradition and unpredictability, duty and spectacle. In this journey through their interactions, we'll reveal how these two figures navigated the complexities of their vastly different roles. What challenges did Prince William face in upholding the monarchy's apolitical stance during Trump's presidency? How did Trump's outspoken style influence public and private perceptions of their encounters? And what can their relationship teach us about the balance between diplomacy and disruption? Let's uncover the truth behind this unlikely connection. Prince William has long been a central figure in British royal life, but the intricacies of his interactions with global figures often remain shrouded in mystery. Among those connections, his indirect yet compelling relationship with Donald Trump stands out. To understand this relationship, one must first delve into the worlds they inhabit. Williams as a symbol of continuity and tradition, and Trump's as a disruptor of norms and conventions. Their paths, though vastly different, converged in ways that revealed much about their personalities, values, and the institutions they represent. In 2016, Donald Trump emerged as a polarizing figure on the global stage. His rise to power was meteoric, fueled by unorthodox rhetoric and a promise to challenge the status quo. For Prince William, the same period was marked by his steady evolution as a senior royal, preparing to take on more prominent responsibilities within the monarchy. Despite the stark contrast in their public personas, their respective roles placed them in a position where interaction became inevitable. From the outset, Trump's fascination with the British royal family was apparent. Even before his presidency, he had made headlines with controversial remarks about Princess Diana, which were perceived as inappropriate and distasteful by many. Later, his comments about Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, during a privacy breach involving paparazzi, further amplified public scrutiny of his attitude toward the monarchy. These incidents likely shaped how Prince William viewed Trump, setting the stage for a dynamic fraught with underlying tension. As Trump took office in January 2017, the spotlight on his relationship with global leaders intensified. For the British royal family, the Trump presidency presented a unique challenge. The monarchy, by tradition, maintains political neutrality, focusing instead on diplomacy and fostering goodwill. Prince William, often seen as the more reserved and measured royal, epitomized this approach. Yet, Trump's unpredictable style made neutrality a delicate balancing act. Behind the scenes, preparations for Trump's eventual state visit to the UK began almost immediately after his inauguration. Such visits, steeped in ceremony and protocol, are significant not only for the pageantry they showcase, but also for the diplomatic signals they send. For William, participating in these events required navigating a minefield of public perception and private opinion. The state visit, however, would not materialize until 2019, leaving a 2-year period during which indirect interactions and public commentary fueled curiosity about how the two figures viewed each other. Trump's presidency was marked by a series of comments about the royal family that ranged from complimentary to controversial. He expressed admiration for Queen Elizabeth II, often highlighting her longevity and steadfastness. Yet his remarks about other family members, particularly Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, revealed a propensity to wade into personal matters that royals traditionally avoid discussing publicly. For William, who values privacy and discretion, these comments likely reinforced a sense of caution toward Trump. During this period, Prince William's responsibilities within the royal family expanded. As the Duke of Cambridge, he undertook more high-profile engagements, including those related to environmental causes, mental health advocacy, and global diplomacy. These roles positioned him as a bridge between tradition and modernity, contrasting sharply with Trump's brash and often divisive public persona. However, their shared roles as influential figures on the world stage meant that their paths would inevitably cross, with the weight of public and media scrutiny bearing down on both. By the time preparations for Trump's state visit were in full swing, the British press speculated endlessly about how the royals, particularly William and his wife Catherine, would handle the event. Past state visits had provided a blueprint, But the unpredictability of Trump's behavior introduced an element of uncertainty. For William, the challenge was not just about adhering to protocol, but also about managing the perception of the monarchy in an era of heightened political and social polarization. As the state visit loomed, questions linger about whether William and Trump would find common ground, or whether their differences would dominate their interactions. These moments of anticipation set the tone for what would become a fascinating chapter in the intersection of royalty and politics, one that reflected broader shifts in global diplomacy and public expectations of both figures. The anticipation leading up to Donald Trump's state visit to the United Kingdom was palpable, with both the British public and international media speculating on how the royals would manage the high-stakes occasion. By 2019, Trump had established himself as an unpredictable and often polarizing figure on the world stage, and his visit to the UK was expected to draw intense scrutiny. For Prince William, the event represented a delicate balance between duty and diplomacy, a chance to uphold the monarchy's tradition of neutrality while navigating the personal complexities Trump often brought into his relationships with public figures. The state visit began with the ceremonial grandeur one would expect, including the traditional welcome at Buckingham Palace, formal dinners, and public appearances. Trump, ever the showman, appeared eager to bask in the historical significance of the monarchy, expressing admiration for the Queen and the institution she represented. While his interactions with Queen Elizabeth II garnered much attention, it was his subtle dynamics with the younger royals, particularly Prince William and his wife Catherine, that became the subject of widespread analysis. Observers noted that William's demeanor throughout the visit was cordial, but notably reserved, reflecting his characteristic restraint. This approach stood in stark contrast to Trump's often larger-than-life presence. At formal events, William maintained a professional distance, participating in conversations but steering clear of any overly familiar exchanges. The Duke of Cambridge's focus on protocol and diplomacy was apparent, signaling a clear intent to preserve the monarchy's role as a neutral institution above political controversy. Yet it was impossible to ignore the undertones of tension that seemed to permeate their interactions. Trump's history of controversial remarks about members of the royal family likely loomed large in William's mind. Years earlier, Trump had commented on Kate Middleton during a privacy breach involving unauthorized photographs, a moment that sparked outrage and placed Trump in the crosshairs of British public opinion. While William never publicly addressed the incident, his protective nature as both a husband and future king would suggest that such remarks did not go unnoticed. The state banquet, a highlight of the visit, offered another glimpse into the dynamics between Trump and the royals. Seated among prominent figures from both the UK and the United States, the Trumps shared a table with senior members of the royal family, including Prince William. The formalities of the evening were meticulously followed, but it was clear that every gesture and interaction was being closely watched. William's polished, measured responses during conversations with Trump reflected a diplomatic tact that has become one of his defining traits. Behind closed doors, however, royal insiders hinted at a more complex narrative. While the monarchy remains outwardly unified during such events, the reality of hosting a figure as polarizing as Trump likely generated considerable discussion within palace walls. Sources close to the family suggested that William and Catherine approached the visit with a sense of duty, prioritizing the monarchy's reputation over personal feelings. This pragmatic stance is consistent with William's reputation as a thoughtful and calculated leader, someone who prioritizes the bigger picture over fleeting moments of discomfort. Media coverage of the visit was predictably mixed, with some outlets praising the royals for their grace under pressure, and others highlighting moments of perceived awkwardness. William's interactions with Trump were dissected in detail, from his carefully chosen words to the subtle expressions that seemed to convey more than what was said aloud. This scrutiny underscored the unique challenges William faces as a modern royal, balancing centuries-old traditions with the complexities of contemporary public life. As the state visit concluded, the focus shifted to the broader implications of the encounter. For Trump, the visit reinforced his admiration for the monarchy, which he later spoke about in interviews with characteristic enthusiasm. For Prince William, the experience was another example of the tightrope he must walk as a senior royal. His ability to navigate such moments with composure and professionalism highlighted his growing role as a key figure in the future of the monarchy. The events of the state visit also served as a reminder of the contrasting worlds inhabited by William and Trump. Where William represents continuity, duty, and a measured approach to leadership, Trump embodies disruption, spectacle, and the breaking of traditional norms. Their brief interactions during the visit encapsulated this dichotomy, offering a fascinating glimpse into how two vastly different figures can coexist within the same global narrative. In the aftermath of the visit, discussions about Trump's legacy and his relationship with the royals continued to dominate public discourse. While his connections with other members of the family, such as his controversial remarks about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, often drew sharper criticism, his encounters with William remained relatively subdued. This dynamic may speak to William's skill in maintaining boundaries and focusing on his responsibilities, a quality that has earned him respect both within the royal family and among the public. As the spotlight shifted away from the state visit, William returned to his regular duties, including his work on mental health advocacy and environmental causes. These initiatives reflect his vision for a modern monarchy, one that is engaged with global challenges and rooted in meaningful action. Meanwhile, Trump's presidency continued its unpredictable course, further solidifying his reputation as a divisive figure in international politics. Their respective paths diverged once more, but the impressions left by their brief interactions lingered in the public consciousness. The state visit marked a significant chapter in the relationship between Prince William and Donald Trump, one that revealed as much about their differences as it did about their shared challenges. For William, the experience reinforced the importance of diplomacy and discretion in his role as a senior royal. For Trump, it was another opportunity to align himself with the prestige and history of the British monarchy. Together, their interactions offered a unique lens through which to view the intersection of royalty and politics in the modern era. As the state visit faded into the background, discussions about its long-term impact on Prince William and Donald Trump's relationship began to surface. While the formalities of the event had gone as planned, the subtle tensions and contrasting styles of the two figures left an indelible mark on public perception. William's carefully crafted diplomacy had been put to the test, and Trump's larger-than-life persona had once again divided opinions. These moments underscored the ongoing challenges of maintaining a royal image in an increasingly polarized and scrutinized world. By late 2019, as Trump's presidency approached its final year, the spotlight shifted to how world leaders, including royals like Prince William, navigated the complexities of dealing with such a polarizing figure. Trump's comments about other members of the royal family, most notably Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, continued to make headlines. He often weighed in on their decisions, including their step back from royal duties, with opinions that ranged from dismissive to outright critical. While these remarks did not directly involve William, the ripple effects were undeniable, especially as he sought to stabilize the monarchy during a period of upheaval. For William, the royal family's internal dynamics were as important as their public engagements. As a future king, he had to walk a fine line between protecting the institution and addressing the challenges posed by his brother Harry's increasingly public critiques of royal life. Trump's commentary on Harry and Meghan's decisions often added fuel to the fire, amplifying the media frenzy surrounding the family. In this environment, William's steady and composed approach stood out, earning him praise for his ability to rise above the noise and focus on his duties. Privately, however, insiders suggested that William's patience with Trump's unsolicited opinions was wearing thin. While the Duke of Cambridge has always been known for his professionalism, those close to the royal family noted that he found Trump's tendency to wade into royal matters unhelpful. This sentiment was shared by many within the palace, who viewed Trump's comments as unnecessary distractions at a time when the monarchy was already under intense scrutiny. Publicly, William's strategy remained unchanged: stay neutral, maintain decorum, and avoid being drawn into controversy. This approach reflected his broader philosophy of leadership, one that emphasizes the importance of duty and service over personal opinion. Unlike his brother Harry, who has been more open about his views on global issues and politics, William's restraint serves as a reminder of the monarchy's commitment to impartiality, a cornerstone of its enduring relevance. The differences between William and Trump's leadership styles became increasingly apparent during this time. While William quietly championed causes like mental health awareness and environmental conservation, Trump's presidency continued to be marked by bold declarations and divisive policies. Their contrasting priorities were perhaps most evident in their approaches to climate change. William's passionate advocacy for sustainability, exemplified by initiatives like the Earthshot Prize, stood in stark contrast to Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Agreement and his skepticism of climate science. Despite these differences, their paths crossed indirectly on several occasions. For example, William's environmental work often garnered international attention, putting him in the same discussions as world leaders, including Trump. While they never directly clashed on these issues, their divergent stances highlighted the challenges of finding common ground between figures with such opposing worldviews. As Trump's presidency came to an end in early 2021, speculation grew about how his departure would affect his connections with global figures, including Prince William. Would their brief interactions during the state visit and subsequent years leave a lasting impression, or would they fade into the annals of royal and political history? For William, the transition offered an opportunity to refocus on his priorities without the shadow of Trump's polarizing influence. For Trump, stepping away from the presidency marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that would likely continue to include commentary on global affairs and public figures, including the British royal family. The post-Trump era brought new challenges for William as well. As the COVID-19 pandemic reshaped the world, the royal family adapted to new ways of connecting with the public. Virtual engagements, charitable initiatives, and public messages of solidarity became central to their efforts. For William, these moments underscored the importance of his role as a unifying figure, someone who could bring people together during a time of unprecedented crisis. In this context, Trump's legacy loomed as both a reminder of past challenges and a potential source of future complications. His continued presence in the media ensured that his opinions on global figures, including William, would likely resurface from time to time. However, by maintaining his focus on the monarchy's core values, William demonstrated an ability to rise above the noise and stay true to his vision for the future. The contrasting trajectories of William and Trump during this period offered a fascinating study in leadership. Where Trump's approach was often characterized by bold, headline-grabbing moves, William's path was defined by quiet determination and a commitment to long-term goals. Their interactions, though limited, served as a microcosm of these differences, highlighting the unique challenges and opportunities that come with their respective roles. By the time the pandemic began to subside, William had solidified his position as a leading voice within the royal family. His work on initiatives like Heads Together and the Earthshot Prize continued to gain momentum, reflecting his vision for a modern and relevant monarchy. Meanwhile, Trump's post-presidency activities kept him in the spotlight, ensuring that his influence, though diminished, remained a topic of discussion. As the world began to recover and refocus, the brief intersection of William and Trump's worlds offered valuable insights into the complexities of modern leadership. Their relationship, shaped by a mix of duty, diplomacy, and personal values, revealed much about their characters and the institutions they represent. While their paths may not cross again in the same way, the lessons learned from their interactions will undoubtedly influence how they approach future challenges. As the world settled into a new era following the end of Donald Trump's presidency, the British royal family continued to navigate a landscape that was increasingly shaped by public scrutiny and evolving societal expectations. Prince William, ever the steadfast figure within the monarchy, found himself assuming greater responsibilities, not just within the family but also on the global stage. The aftermath of Trump's presidency had left its mark on the world's perception of leadership. And while their interactions had been brief, the dichotomy between the two figures continued to invite comparisons. For William, the years following Trump's departure were marked by an increased focus on his defining causes. Initiatives like the Earthshot Prize, designed to combat climate change and encourage innovative environmental solutions, became central to his public role. These efforts not only showcased his commitment to sustainability, but also positioned him as a global leader in addressing one of the most pressing issues of the time. His growing influence in this area highlighted a contrast with Trump's policies, particularly the former president's withdrawal from international climate agreements during his time in office. Despite these differences, the specter of Trump's legacy lingered in subtle ways. The former president's penchant for weighing in on global affairs meant that the royal family, particularly high-profile members like William and Catherine, were often subjects of his commentary. Trump's remarks about the monarchy's younger generation, including Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, continued to generate headlines, indirectly affecting William's public image. While William remained characteristically composed and avoided engaging with such statements, the continued focus on his family underscored the challenges of maintaining royal neutrality in a world driven by relentless media cycles. By 2022, the royal family faced another pivotal moment with the celebration of Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. The event marked an extraordinary milestone in the Queen's reign and brought the family together in a display of unity and tradition. For William, the Jubilee was not only a celebration, but also an opportunity to further establish his vision for the monarchy's future. His appearances during the festivities reflected a confident and modern royal, one deeply attuned to both his heritage and the changing expectations of the public. The Jubilee also reignited discussions about the monarchy's role in contemporary society, particularly in the context of global politics. Trump, now firmly in the post-presidency phase of his career, seized the occasion to once again share his admiration for the Queen and the institution she represented. While his comments were largely positive, they served as a reminder of his continued interest in the British royal family and the narratives surrounding its key figures. For William, these occasional reminders of Trump's influence served as a backdrop to his broader efforts to redefine his role in a rapidly changing world. As William's responsibilities grew, so too did his reputation as a bridge between tradition and progress. His efforts to modernize the monarchy through meaningful engagement with global challenges were increasingly recognized, not just within the United Kingdom, but also on the international stage. His work with young leaders, charitable organizations, and environmental innovators painted a picture of a future king committed to leaving a lasting impact. This approach stood in stark contrast to Trump's post-presidency activities, which often centered on rallies, media appearances, and political speculation. The contrasting trajectories of William and Trump during this period offered a unique lens through which to examine the evolving nature of leadership. William's measured, long-term approach reflected a dedication to continuity and stability, values that have long been associated with the monarchy. Trump, on the other hand, continued to embrace a style defined by disruption and immediacy, resonating with a base of supporters who valued his boldness and unpredictability. These differences underscored the challenges of navigating public life in an era where authenticity and relatability often carried as much weight as experience and tradition. Throughout these years, William's growing prominence was accompanied by a heightened awareness of the monarchy's place in a world grappling with political polarization and social change. His ability to balance the expectations of a global audience while maintaining a clear sense of purpose became one of his defining strengths. Whether addressing issues of mental health, climate change, or the importance of community, William demonstrated an adaptability that resonated with people across generational and cultural divides. Meanwhile, Trump's continued engagement with the media ensured that his views on figures like William remained part of the broader conversation. His admiration for the monarchy, while genuine, often came with a focus on its more traditional elements, a perspective that sometimes clashed with William's efforts to modernize the institution. This tension, though rarely explicit, highlighted the delicate interplay between tradition and change, a theme that has long defined the British royal family's evolution. By late 2022, William's role as a global figure had solidified further, and his ability to navigate complex diplomatic situations earned him respect both at home and abroad. His quiet diplomacy and focus on building meaningful connections stood in stark contrast to the more overt and transactional style that had characterized Trump's presidency. While their paths had diverged significantly, the lessons learned from their brief interactions continued to influence how William approached his responsibilities as a senior royal and future king. As the world looked toward the future, the brief intersection of William and Trump's lives remained a compelling chapter in the broader narrative of royalty and politics. Their contrasting styles and priorities offered valuable insights into the challenges of leadership in a modern world. For William, the experience reinforced the importance of staying true to the values of duty and service that have long defined the monarchy. For Trump, his engagement with the royals provided another stage on which to project his unique vision of leadership. In many ways, their relationship, defined by brief encounters, subtle contrasts, and shared challenges, captured the complexities of navigating public life in the 21st century. While their interactions may have been fleeting, the impressions they left behind continue to shape perceptions of both figures, offering a fascinating glimpse into the intersection of tradition, politics, and the enduring influence of global institutions. As Prince William's public role grew more defined, his reputation as a symbol of continuity and progress within the royal family became ever more pronounced. His ability to adapt to changing societal expectations while maintaining the traditions of the monarchy solidified his standing as a future king. In contrast, Donald Trump, now firmly entrenched in his post-presidency era, continued to wield influence in his own way, positioning himself as a central figure in American and global political discourse. While their worlds seldom overlapped directly after Trump's presidency, the legacy of their brief interactions and the narratives that surrounded them lingered in the public consciousness. For William, the lessons gleaned from navigating high-profile moments like Trump's state visit informed his approach to diplomacy and public engagement. He understood the delicate balance required to maintain the monarchy's apolitical stance while navigating interactions with figures who often stirred controversy. This ability to balance tradition with modernity was further tested as he took on an increasingly visible role in global discussions, particularly regarding environmental sustainability. The Earthshot Prize, William's flagship environmental initiative, became a cornerstone of his public work. By fostering innovation and collaboration to address climate change, William demonstrated a forward-thinking approach that resonated with audiences worldwide. The initiative's success highlighted his ability to galvanize support for causes that transcend political and cultural boundaries. This approach stood in stark contrast to Trump's legacy on environmental issues, a difference that often underscored the broader divergence in their priorities and leadership styles. Even as their paths diverged, Trump's occasional commentary on the royal family ensured that he remained part of the conversation. His remarks, often polarizing, continued to generate media attention and shape the way audiences viewed the monarchy's interactions with global figures. While these comments rarely referenced William directly, they underscored the enduring fascination with the royal family and its role on the world stage. William, for his part, remained steadfast in his commitment to leading by example. His work with charitable organizations, mental health advocacy, and youth empowerment initiatives reflected a deep understanding of the issues that matter most to the public. This focus on meaningful action and engagement helped to position him as a unifying figure during a time of significant global challenges. As the world entered a new phase of recovery and renewal following the upheavals of the past decade, the contrasting trajectories of William and Trump offered a compelling study in leadership. William's steady, measured approach to his responsibilities as a senior royal stood in stark contrast to Trump's often provocative and unpredictable style. Yet both figures commanded attention in their own ways, shaping conversations and influencing perceptions across vastly different spheres. The dynamics between royalty and politics, as exemplified by William and Trump, offered valuable insights into the evolving nature of global leadership. Their interactions, while limited, highlighted the complexities of navigating public life in an era defined by heightened polarization and media scrutiny. For William, the experience reinforced the importance of maintaining a clear sense of purpose and staying true to the values that have long underpinned the monarchy. For Trump, his engagement with figures like William provided another dimension to his legacy as a global disruptor. By the time William began assuming more prominent responsibilities within the monarchy, his role as a modern statesman had been firmly established. His ability to connect with people from all walks of life, coupled with his unwavering dedication to causes like environmental sustainability and mental health, positioned him as a beacon of hope for the monarchy's future. In contrast, Trump's post-presidency journey remained marked by controversy and speculation, about his potential return to politics, a narrative that continued to captivate his supporters and critics alike. The differences in their leadership styles, William's quiet diplomacy versus Trump's bold declarations, served as a reminder of the diverse approaches to influence and authority in the modern world. While their paths were unlikely to intersect again in the same capacity, the lessons drawn from their interactions offered a blueprint for understanding the challenges and opportunities that come with navigating high-profile roles in an interconnected world. As the years progressed, William's vision for the monarchy became increasingly clear. His focus on addressing pressing global issues, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring the monarchy's relevance in a rapidly changing society demonstrated his adaptability and foresight. Meanwhile, Trump's continued presence in political and media circles ensured that his impact on public discourse remained significant, even as his relationship with figures like William receded into the background. In reflecting on their interactions, one can see a microcosm of the broader tensions between tradition and disruption, continuity and change. William and Trump, while representing vastly different worlds, shared the common challenge of navigating public life in an era where every word and action is scrutinized to an unprecedented degree. Their brief encounters revealed much about their characters and priorities, offering a window into the complexities of leadership in the 21st century. For William, the journey toward kingship remains one of steady progress, marked by a commitment to upholding the monarchy's core values while embracing modernity. For Trump, his legacy as a political disruptor continues to unfold, shaped by his actions during and after his presidency. Together, their stories illustrate the enduring interplay between royalty and politics, tradition and transformation, and the evolving demands of leadership in a world that is constantly changing. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.